You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Hack and the Fraud. My name is Ryan. I'm joined, as always, by Nicholas.
Hello.
And we just got back from the movies. And we've got a couple of movies on the radar this week for us to review, analyze, digest together. The first one was the much anticipated Denis Villeneuve.
Or is that going to be the second one?
Denis Villeneuve film Dune, based on the 1965 Frank Herbert novel. I know that because I'm reading it at the moment.
Oh, sick.
And because the world
apparently it's a really tough read.
It is.
Yeah.
And I tried to read it before.
Proper science fiction, like gritty science fiction.
And it's not that bad. It's more like fantasy. That's where
like all the Lord of the Rings elves families.
Yeah, it's like too much. And I tried to give it a read before the movie, but it was too dense for me. But now, having watched the movie, I kind of have that context to be able to read it easier. And the other main movie we're going to be talking about is the new Adam McKay feature from Netflix, but we saw it in the cinema. Don't Look Up.
There's a big fuck you to Netflix. We decided to pay hard-earned to Denny's instead. We're not going to sit down and let you control what we do, Netflix.
That's right. We see it in the cinema. We pay our money. We don't want it for free.
Red carpet feature, you could say.
It was a red carpet. It was pretty lame red carpet.
It was more blue. But it's like we got a glass of wine. You got to share yours.
I got it. No, mixed in one of it. So
you got it all yourself.
I got the champagne all for myself.
Are we going to do that one first or second?
I think we do June first.
But we sort of okay. All right. No, let's do June first. I was ready to go on Don't Look Up. But I think it's because it's like we've just watched it, so maybe let's do that one.
Yeah.
And then June. So I reckon, hey, look, if you just want June, skip to 28 minutes and 58 seconds.
Something like that.
Probably exactly that.
I'm going to monitor it so that when we get to 28:58, it's all going to be June. But for now, we'll start with Don't Look Up.
Cool. We're going live. That's how you can tell.
This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. This isn't happening. Kate, tell me this isn't really happening.
I hear there's something you don't like the looks of.
We discovered a very large comet.
Oh, good for you.
It's headed directly towards Earth.
This comet is what we call a planet killer.
At this exact moment, I say we sit tight and assess.
Sit tight and assess?
Sit tight.
And then assess. The sit tight part comes first, then you got to digest it. That's the assessment period.
Okay, so Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, guest starring Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, Ron Perlman, Tyler Perry, Kate Blanchett. Anyone I missing?
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah, that sexy little fucking French twink.
Jesus, yeah, he's the link to both these movies, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So Nick, what did you think of Don't Look Up?
Well, I think we're going to be on opposite ends, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it. Not my jam. Not my tempo. I want to say. I'll give you some good reasons. I'll come out pretty strong in. So I won't give it a terrible score because it's not a terrible movie, but it's just not for me, and I won't recommend it to anybody ever.
Okay. Explain your reasoning.
All right. Is it good? Well, we get bloody get the notes out. All right. So look, so essentially, I assume audience, you've all seen Bloody Armageddon
and Deep Impact.
Probably Deep Impact.
This is the thing. I was like, it is a comparison to Deep Impact and Armageddon. Where does it fit in the trilogy?
It knows its role in this. So like, it's sort of like, it's very meta, but it also isn't. Like it sort of takes a snapshot and knows its own role in this kind of like, let's say, universe. There's movies that exist. You know how movies sometimes pretend, that Saving Private Ryan.
Or like zombie movies don't exist in zombie movies.
Yeah, right. So
this one knows.
I think it knows about it because there's certain scenes where it's pointing fun at, which is funny. I like it when it points fun at Armageddon.
It's funny. It's fine. I get it.
Yeah, I got it. I don't know. It just wasn't. So that's what I liked about I like the humor. The humor for the most part. A lot of it was kind of like got very tedious and very kind of they played up the same thing. I want to describe it as this. I think of this film as an SNL sketch, but instead of it being like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And so it kind of loses that. And the only exception to that is when they did the MacGruber whole movie, which is just great. I love that.
Which is
movie so
amazing. I
much.
cannot wait for the TV
I'm gonna
series.
watch. Yeah, I'm getting Stan just for that. I will do it just for that. No, but this just for me was just like, what if this? And it's funny. It's just like, oh yeah, the president, instead of sending up the rockets, did this, and it was just like, cool. That's a great SNL sketch. Like you do that, but you probably, and this is where it's kind of weird for me. It didn't like, it was 2.5 hours. I was like, 2.5
hours, really?
I feel like it was. I mean, like,
it should have been maybe
it didn't need to be, right?
It didn't need to be that long.
It had a kind of solid opening. Just jump in where you want. By the way.
No, I felt that it had a more solid finish than opening.
Really?
I thought I liked it more as the movie progressed. Where, like you said at the start, it felt more like a SNL sketch. Towards the end, I sort of started realizing more what the movie is doing, and for me, it comes across as like a zeitgeist movie, really. And that's what Adam McKay is trying to do. He's trying to capture, modern discourse, modern pop culture, modern Western society, and make fun of it, and kind of what's the end result of where we're going as a species. Which
I totally got
asking,
that. And when I say I liked the comedy, I liked everything but this. This is where I didn't like it, because it was such a like
it's a bit on the nose.
It was on the nose. It was not clever. It wasn't insightful. It was obvious, and it was like from the point of view of, I think Wood provides much better. I'm not saying as a writer, but like someone who isn't American has a way better idea as to how this discourse is looking from non-Americans' point of view. It's a culture culture clash, or whatever you want to call it. But it's like it doesn't get it. It still doesn't understand where its own their own role is in it, because they sort of take sides. But it also
it's very like Adam McKay is like a lefty, and I think they tried to do little things. Like they never mentioned which political party the president is from, and she's a woman, but clearly evoking Trump. So they're trying to bridge the two gaps, and they do keep having those discussions. But in the end, it still does come across as a very left wing kind of viewpoint, which is fine because I'm left wing.
I think you could say she was a Hillary Clinton. I don't think she's a lefty.
I think she's a Hillary / Trump. It's evoking both of them.
But because she's not exactly a lefty's hero. You wouldn't say that at all.
She's not
hugging. I thought when you saw her hugging Bill Clinton, that was kind of
that was definitely a. But yes, I don't know whether she's a Democrat or Republican. But So and then look, obviously lots of bits about social media and the internet and stuff, but clearly written by a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
Who understands
trending
internet trending hashtags.
Yeah.
It's that very base level 50-year-old version of what the internet is, which is fine. Because it is a popular.
It's not fine for me because it's they showed memes and they showed the old memes. Oh, cool, yeah, that would be a meme from 2012.
And they're bottom text memes rather than
It's someone who doesn't get what they're doing. That's. I just felt the writing was so out of its depth that it was not really evoking anything close to the truth. Anyway, that was, but the humor itself. So the throwaway lines. I really
Jonah
loved
Hill's
Jonah Hill
improvisations.
You
clearly.
can tell it was yeah. Leo, I love Leo. Didn't love him in this film. I like that he was doing a character, it wasn't live or die.
You should see my face right now.
Yeah. But I didn't like Jennifer Lawrence too. I didn't like her
but who
character.
fucking likes Jennifer Lawrence in 10 years?
I like her, yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked her as well, but since Silver Linings Playbook, what has she done?
She had, I think she had...
That was 2011. When was the last movie she did? Red Sparrow?
That's true, yeah. Oh, look,
is that the last movie? And
she can pack it in, right? She's got 2 Oscars, I'm pretty sure. So
that's crazy. So not crazy because she's a good actress, but just.
Hey, I liked in this. I liked Timothée Chalamet. I liked it as soon as he came. I didn't like the ending, but I liked it as soon as he came in. For me, it was similar to a role, maybe equally as sexually as Anna de Armas. When she was in James Bond, that little 10-minute. I like what he brings. Being serious, I liked when he came in. He's just got something. He was able to really occupy that screen. His character was probably the most memorable for mine. Every other character, they all played characters. They all played
archetypes or
yeah. So it's like Alec Baldwin doing a Trump impression, and this is Meryl Streep doing a Hillary impression the whole time, and then it's they're not people. Sure. None of these people. No character was a person. The one came closest to an actual person, is Timothy Chalamet, and I think that's probably a problem with the writing. I think the writing didn't enable, and so because there's no people, there's no stake for me. There's nothing at stake.
Sure,
I don't give a shit.
Well, we're going to come back to this when we talk about Dune, but go on.
Oh, all right, that's interesting. Anyway,
But I get what you mean with when you don't connect to the characters, that you have no stake in the movie, because that's the thing, right? Like, you want to see the characters not get destroyed by a comet.
I think I see the point you're about to make for Dune. I don't think that's a good one because it's like
we're going to talk about
anyway. You know what? I liken this style of movie to Burn After Reading, which is for a lot of people very good. For me, it just wasn't.
Really?
It's one, like, when I think of Coen Brothers, I think of anything but this. Anything but Burn After Reading for me is just, I didn't like it. It's just too zany and like it's like trying to like one up each other by
I find Burn After Reading to be hilarious and very good. It's maybe not on the same level as other Coen Brothers movies because it is like an out and out comedy.
Yeah.
But hilarious. So
but I guess what Burn After Reading is, it's an out and out comedy. That's all. This one mixes and matches between, well,
it's Adam McKay, right? And he's been going on this trajectory, starting with Anchorman.
Yeah.
And then his latest movie was Vice. And then before that, The Big Short. So he's moved into this sort of like half comedy, half drama thing.
Yeah.
But still like keeping those really comic sensibilities. And rather than being like a comedy drama, it feels more like a comedy that's not very funny, or like a drama that's like not very dramatic, but a bit funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I do feel this with Adam McKay, like he's almost striking the balance, because I loved The Big Short.
Yeah, Big Short,
but
I think.
That's a unique movie about like a real historical thing, and it breaks the fourth wall and it does all these different things.
I think it does really well. I think there's a big difference in how it actually takes it on. And basically it uses comedy as an icing to what's already been sort of to the cake that is the movie.
For sure.
I don't think there's any cake in this movie.
No, and I think
it's just all icing. It's all just
It's kind of like Vice as well, where they're both like ostensibly enjoyable, but I think he's like, I don't know, perfecting this style, and I think maybe the next movie he makes will be really, really great.
Maybe he's going the other way though. But do you like Vice? I forgot.
Yeah, I like Vice,
but not better than Big Short. So
no, I mean The Big Short. Yeah, well,
it can happen. It can be where you like get too
Edgar Wright.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we'll see.
We'll see about Last Night and so.
Yeah, Last Night. Yeah. I mean, great cast. But so did this. This had a great cast.
And Baby Driver was a bit like, kind of feel like indulging his worst excesses, which I think Adam McKay is doing as well with this one. Like, he's like, I want to do this political comedy movie that's also about, who we are as Americans and stuff.
A 50-year-old white guy is super well off.
Totally.
Oh, yeah, that's a unique take. I just did a face. You obviously can't see my face, but it was a disgusted one.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I guess that's the problem with the movie. But I think I was less annoyed by it, or like less sensitive to those things. Maybe for whatever reason, where I wasn't as annoyed as I could be. Leo again is like a blank fucking canvas, man. Like literally anybody could play that in the exact same way.
Anyone should have played him. I don't know why they
needed Leo.
They hired Leo for that role. Yeah, that to me seems strange. Like I feel like I'm just going to throw some names out.
Okay,
that's a Richard Jewell. Oh, the guy who played Richard Jewell.
Oh, right.
That's his sort of role, or someone who's just got a bit more. So when he played Jordan Belfort, he was perfect for that. Like that was really a great role for him, and he had that comedic timing. He has got it. But this had a different kind of, I think you needed a bit more of a slapsticky kind of.
He wasn't comedy in this at all, basically. No, I know. His character.
I feel like you need someone that can
bring
do
a bit of it just by virtue of who they are, yeah.
Who I'm thinking someone who's not conventionally handsome.
Years ago, and change the script a bit, like Bill Murray.
Yes, totally. Yeah, like someone like, that's right. But someone who's not super conventionally handsome, but sort of like thrown into this world, and they're like your vein.
And it's just funny by like virtue of their being, because none of the lines are funny, right?
That would improve this movie a lot.
Yeah.
But Leo was a weird casting, and it's probably a very expensive one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would have been an expensive cast. Like everybody is an A-lister, basically. Everybody would have been asking for $20 million.
Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence.
I reckon she's still getting 20. Meryl, she had a bigger role than I thought, because she was with Meryl Streep, and normally when it's a with somebody, they don't have a very big role. It's like a guest star.
I looked this movie up after watching it, and the first build, or like the cast that came up first was Timothy Chalamet. I thought,
that's interesting.
He was in the very end of the movie.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he was in the last like 45 minutes and had a decent role in that. I'm glad he was in it, and I enjoyed, like you said, I enjoyed the entire time that he was in it. But I think that's just a virtue of him being the biggest star on the planet at the moment, basically, which is crazy because 3 movies: Call Me by Your Name, Dune, and this one are the only ones I could think. Oh, and Interstellar. He played young.
He came through. He just kept getting roles. He got The King too.
Oh, The King, that was great. Yeah,
and he was in. Is it Blackbird or something? No, the one with Sarah Ronan. And he's one of the many boyfriends.
Saoirse Ronan.
So yeah, so
Swaze.
Swaze.
Say it now. I don't
What's
know.
her name? Ladybird. He's in Lady. Like he's in a lot of those. He gets those sort of roles.
Yeah.
But he's certainly like massive name at the moment. What else? I mean, like, okay, we'll get into spoilers. We have time. Yeah. So the very very last scene. This is like an inconsequential scene. It's like, what was its point? I left the film and came back in.
Oh, the
post-credits.
Post-credits.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we'll talk a bit more about like the ending because I did quite like the ending.
This is a nitpick.
All right, yeah. But I did really like the ending. I kind of liked the billionaire Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos mixed character.
We didn't even mention, Mark Rylance plays this guy.
Yeah,
who's
right.
great. I love Mark Rylance. Yeah.
Of course, that's because I saw Mark Rylance at the start of the movie, but like he was acting so weird, and he's got veneers, and he's got like a weird voice and stuff. But yeah, he's go home, George, in fucking Dunkirk. No, we're going to war, George. But yeah, anyway, so there's like a billionaire guy, and instead of like deflecting the comet. They want to blow it up a little bit, but have them pieces fall to Earth because it's full of rare earth minerals, like stuff that goes in phones and stuff. So it's got all that like capitalism talk as well, which is again, not super successful.
Yeah, I mean, probably not to you because you love capitalism. No, I mean, like stupid. I like the sort of the thought. The idea is that that's where we could get ourselves into for a situation like this. Again, SNL sketch.
Like risk the whole planet.
SNL sketch. I like the idea of this sketch in a 2.5 minute little done.
If they had Meryl Streep and and they're
hilarious.
Like, we're gonna
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're gonna like we're not gonna save the planet.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we save the planet? Well, we'll try to, but we have a real chance to make a couple of people a lot richer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that would be funny.
The whole idea is just like,
and that's the idea. Everyone. And they fuck up, and it doesn't work.
Actually,
and it hits the planet and destroys them. I really like the ending scene where they're having a dinner, like Leonardo and his family and a couple of his friends from the movie are having a dinner. I'm like, why are they acting so normal when the planet's about to end?
One of those guys was like literally that guy they met in the whole thing of it. Was like, does that guy not have a family? Like,
or like friends. Like, why is he here?
Another nitpick again, but still, like,
But I like that scene when they like, as it's going on, they're steadily getting more and more like upset, but trying to keep it down. They're trying to have one last nice dinner, but it's never really mentioned. It's just you pick up the fact, they're just trying to have another last nice dinner together, and they are all terrified, and it is about to end. And that scene got me quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. Well, it didn't get me, and I know it's another unfair comparison because the whole movie's about that. It's like isn't it the last fucking day on, or like the last day on Earth? And there's other sort of similar movies about that.
Oh yeah, Last Day, the Canadian one.
Last Day, yeah, and there's an Australian one too.
Knowing as well is one.
Yeah, Knowing was better than this.
But Knowing's a perfect movie, but Knowing has the exact same final scene where like he goes to his family and then.
Yeah. I mean, like, and does it way better too. God, I can't believe I'm saying
that. What? Knowing is a good movie.
I get this. It was I guess if this whole movie's point is to make me appreciate Knowing, then job done.
Mission success.
I did like the start. I know you maybe didn't as much. I found the end, the middle and the end was really what threw me off any reasonable good score.
It meandered in the middle.
Yeah, it really got slow, and it really then just the end for me I didn't like. But the start I like the concept, and then the sort of journey to how you basically provide you're like the messenger of death, of destruction to the rest of the world. I like kind of like the idea and the steps towards that, especially like Leo then sort of being this guy like sexy scientist Bill Murray.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
But they didn't really the didn't really go anywhere with
Didn't go
that.
anywhere, no,
Yeah. Because the trailer paints it as like they're going on this media tour and nobody believes them, and it seems like it's going to be this like crazy kind of movie, but it's not. And yeah, all those elements of it don't really mean anything in the end.
Yeah.
And then there's like I don't know. They have the don't look up versus just look up.
So, yeah, on the nose,
hashtags.
Right? I guess the Bogan, Bible Belt was wrong all along.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
All they have to do is look up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just so like.
So yeah, it probably was actually like
liberal elite save us. So it
does feel like a liberal elite movie, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, enough politics.
Which is the whole point of the movie. The whole movie's like,
It feeds itself
politics,
into
the arguments, and the politics and division. Blah, blah, blah.
I love a line it says, and I'll put this as a minus point. So they say, "Stop being so goddamn pleasant all the time," and then the movie's doing.
But I actually like that scene. Where
No, that scene's great, but the movie is doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's being funny.
It's being pleasant. It's just like, hang on, you're not taking this premise serious at all.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Like that is like that's the climax of the movie in a way, and it goes against the whole movie itself.
The whole tone of the movie. Yeah,
but that's actually interesting. Yeah, and look, you're talking me down from a good score.
No, you're not allowed to do that. You got to stick with your score. I'll say mine. I gave it a 6, so it's not a terrible score.
No,
at all. Because
so I don't think you said one good thing about it.
No, I said something. I like Timothy, some build up. I like the comedy. The comedy. A lot of the humor I was laughing at.
It works.
Yeah. So as a comedy, it's a comedy, and it just gets a low score. 6 was not terrible though.
Yeah, okay.
Not a terrible film.
No.
Yeah, like cohesive. Like is that everything
works for the most. Like works together,
it's not
but
disgustingly bad.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to recommend it though, Ryan. You're not going to make me.
You don't have to recommend it. I don't know if I would recommend it. I'd probably recommend it. It's like a good if it was a bit shorter as well. Like if it was maybe 100 minutes long, that's like kind of like the perfect length. And then it's done
for a comedy. Yeah, because I think that's where you
it's
want.
Almost like if you take out a lot of like the boring, inconsequential bits, it's a shorter and way funnier movie, and it's just like laughs all the way through. But oh well. And Leo.
This is Dune. No,
yeah, sorry, we're talking about Dune.
It's way funny, man. If you just watch it reverse,
cut it down a little bit. Yeah, Leo again. Like, if anything, this just kind of proves to me more that how useless he is. I mean, it's like
he's not useless.
He brought nothing to the role, right? And any actor should be able to bring something to a role.
He was nothing to the role. He just was miscast.
And his anxiety acting was like ridiculous. He was having panic attacks and like playing it like way over the top.
Yeah. It's just.
Have you ever like gone around a bathroom going like, oh fuck, oh my god, I'm having a panic attack?
Once. Yeah, no, I get what you mean, but like again, it's the writing for the character isn't there. He's
sure.
Yeah, you should bring something. Timothy brought something. I agree with that.
Same right.
But he's not a. Yeah, I'm gonna die on this hill. This is just. I'm gonna die on this Jonah Hill. He was good.
He's always good. He's funny. I love his like.
He just shouldn't have been in this film, Leo. That's not your fault.
It was a weird role for him. That's the thing. Yeah, it could have been anybody else. Anyway, so my score's like a 7.
Yeah. So, I was sitting on a 7 until about middle, and
I think I was sitting on a 6, and then I went up.
Okay.
So we kind of like swapped halfway through.
Fair.
I wonder. I think because the ending kind of had some more legitimate moments for me where I felt like I was connecting to the characters, connecting to what was happening on screen, and got a bit emotional. Not like crazy emotional, but just like a little bit of like, oh, that's effective scene and stuff. I like movies where like the ending is kind of like this, where it's like, oh, not the happy ending. They fucked up and the planet's destroyed. Great.
Yeah, I like it. I like a sort of bad ending, but then it goes away. Like, so I know, and back to the nitpick, but like the final scene is
the post-credit scene 23,000 years later.
It doesn't add anything. It's not really.
It's very silly. It was just to like show Meryl Streep's ass.
No, it's just to give some sort of gratification to the bad guy.
Oh yeah, like the bad guys get like attacked by.
It's just so
alien
done.
creatures.
It's like you have to have some comeuppance. It's a movie lore and rule. Sometimes, you know what would have been more pointed if they got away with it. They fucked everything up and they got away with it.
That's what I thought they were going to go with, right? Like the rich people fuck everything up
and get away with it, like they always fucking do. No, they got to have that. Come on, yeah. It's just like there we go. There's your little fantasy land.
They get attacked by alien creatures when they reach a planet. Anyway.
Let's get to Dune. What do you reckon?
We're close. We still have 3 minutes and.
Oh wow, yeah, I thought we were there. Okay.
Yeah, let's go to June. June.
Do you want to play the trailer? Actually, once you play the trailer, maybe
we should play the trailer. And then, it still won't be close enough. Anyway, we'll play the trailer now.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too.
You guys just heard the trailer for June.
What are we thoughts? Text in.
June, directed by Denis Villeneuve. How do you pronounce it?
Villeneuve. The boy. No, I actually don't know. Hey, guess what?
Yep.
Guess who my favorite director is?
Is
He's my favorite
director.
He's I'm sorry, Christopher Nolan. I got to make one of those memes where it's
no, better than Nolan.
He is. He's my. Well, I can change it back. Christopher Nolan can win me back.
I got a great shirt. I'll put it on the Instagram and I'll show you. It's just one of those kind of like meme shirts, and it says in like big ridiculous text, "You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, Nolan." And then it's got like pictures of Nolan like directing with explosions, and then on the back he's doing like a squat pray, and he's got like all his movies.
Man, that is a great shirt.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the Instagram.
Yeah. Hacking the fraud present. Get that brand.
You mustn't
out
be
there.
afraid to dream a little bigger, Nolan. Anyway, we're not
It's
looking
really
at that.
great.
Yeah,
It's one of the best things I've heard.
Anyway, you were saying that you liked June.
Yeah, I guess I only liked it. No, for real.
No, for real though. Tell us what you really think.
Yeah, probably pretty. We've just come back from June. I watched it a week and a half ago.
Something like that.
And I was visually stunned.
Yeah, visually, yeah.
I really loved it. I think it was. I think it's the makings of a masterpiece as a two-parter kind of thing. So it's very contingent on the second part. So that's why it's the makings of for me. Because they both got to kind of work. But I think what I love about films.
Okay, well, this is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning, yeah.
What a line.
Yeah. And it wasn't. No, it ends. No, what I love is when a film takes a bloody big risk and a big chance and is audacious, is ambitious, is just got shows a bit of cojones. And that's what this film is for me. I think it was really you're reading the book right now. It's extremely hard to, I don't know if you've seen the previous one. The
David Lynch one. I think I saw it as a child, and I know quite a bit from osmosis.
But it's like you watch it, and you're
silly.
like, Jesus,
it's silly.
It's silly, yeah. So this is David Lynch,
yeah,
one of the greatest ever, and he's struggling with this. So I mean, it's a hard task.
Do you reckon he watches the new one and he's like, "What is this crap?"
Yeah, or like when Ridley Scott was kicked off set from Blade Runner 2049. Yeah.
What is this crap? This Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet. Look, I thought it was probably, I want to say, the most visually stunning film I've ever seen. I think it's, I guess, dedication to its own art. I'm probably really wanking it off right now.
No. This is what the people come for.
I really, like as far as a film, how beautiful a film can look, it was really kind of probably the best I've seen. And this is something, it's like a sci-fi film set in like 200 years from now.
Yeah, beauty is a weird word to describe it because it's so, a lot of it is like industrial and awful and it's visually stunning in a way that you go like,
used universe though.
Yeah, used universe.
Which is
great.
Love.
That's what you
like
want.
A clean, squeaky clean one, yeah.
No, totally. Look, I cannot disagree with you on the visuals. It's some of the best visuals we've seen, and I know like
and effects. I include effects. In that
totally.
As well.
I mean, every movie has good effects, but like these are like next level. There is maybe 10 seconds of this movie where I'm like conscious that I'm watching CGI. The rest of it, I'm involved. Sure. I'm in it. Look, no complaints.
This for me,
about the visuals.
sorry to cut you. This for me is something that Christopher Nolan was able to just master in all his films. He's just his practical effects. Like you look at
mixing
Dunkirk,
with the CGI.
Exactly. Yeah, I loved how, and a lot of his films, he'll do something, and then a lot of other directors, they'll then emulate that, or just be like, "Oh my god, that's great. Let's use organs in all our scores. Let's have that rattle sound for all aircraft." Like honestly, before Dunkirk, how many times did you see like that kind of like, I want to say, that kind of rattle, that really immersive
and also the camera on like a plane or like in Interstellar when he has the camera attached to an object that's moving around and it stays with the perspective of, and that started showing up a lot more after Interstellar.
And then these little folding universes thing, and you see
the folding universe, Doctor Strange,
okay. Isn't it? But it's interesting how he kind of does it. But I loved how, and you can be influenced. And I think Denis, they probably both influence each other. And with the practical effects, I really think, or hope that he's sort of really kind of like.
Well, Denis, I think, has progressed filmmaking with this movie, right? Yeah. And I think the big one I think people have been talking about is the sense of scale, right? Like the size of things. And the way he does that is by like giving us something that we recognize, like a human being size or like a house or, anything that we can relate to. And then having like a way fucking bigger object to contrast the two of them. And that's like a really clever way to show scale. And I think that's going to be like a far more common technique now after having seen Dune. Like he has progressed filmmaking in a way that few filmmakers do.
Yes, I know. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think of that, but that is something you
like
see.
When you see the sandworm, and then you've got just like the two of them, and like big tiny sort of down the bottom. Yeah, the big temple, like everything. Like the sense of scale. He always positions the big thing within the frame of something that we can recognize, which I think is a big problem with CGI. It's like
that's a very good point, and that's well put. I find it so much harder to explain why you love something than why you
hate something. Yeah, totally.
So that's great
because you're just in it.
You're in it. Yeah, it's like you just I think that's it. If you're on board and you absorb, you're immersed. You just kind of. Everything seems natural. It's just like, I love what's going on right now. And
that's the perfect movie. The one that you don't really recognize that you're watching a movie, so you can't point to the movie-making techniques.
So you'll win this round because I'm probably not going to come up with some very great points. But so for me, it was just, I was stunned through minute 1 through to minute 300 or 200 and whatever it was. It was 3 hours, wasn't it?
No, it was 2.5.
2.5. And
could have been 3.
I didn't want it to be less long.
I wanted it to be longer and maybe sit with a few scenes a bit longer and give a bit more dialogue and a bit more character development. That was my issue with the movie.
So my issues, I guess, are more real nitpicks, but it does affect the score. So like, I'm not going to give this a perfect 10 or anything. Not today. I still haven't, and I won't. This is no exception. I'm sorry.
Have you given it? You're not giving it a 10 in the pod yet.
I haven't given it a 10 in the pod. Sorry. If we were doing Parasite at the time, it would have been a 10.
Really?
I love it.
That's weird to me.
No, to me, it's just like I just can't think of a thing that I would change about the movie at all. Like, honestly, at all for that movie.
So I feel like some of it got lost in translation and some bits I'm like, this is weird. I don't know what they're doing here.
And it's better every watch.
All right, well, I'll have to watch it again and then maybe I will.
The things with me were like, so some, when you watch something and you're like, do I need to know this or do I need to see this? It's just like it's a deleted scene or just a filler character that you don't really need in the film. And it's normally one
every scene in the extended editions of Lord of the Rings.
But I don't. That's kind of where I'm
that's what you mean.
I'm getting at. It's like it should be a deleted scene. Yeah, they are deleted scenes, but I welcome them.
Yeah.
But these for me, the characters that they're inconsequential. I don't think. I do think. So, for example, the housemaid when she gets sort of chosen, there's a whole 5-minute bit about
the housemaid.
She's and she has a sword.
I think that's when I went to the toilet.
But we reveal, good timing.
I always have to go like halfway through the movie.
But it was just the whole scene and build up there was no point to it. And then there's a lot
because you don't really deal with her very much throughout the rest of it.
Yeah, you see her die, but she introduces this like bone sword, which is also introduced by another character.
Right. Yeah. And then you keep seeing it in like his flashbacks and he talks about it. He's like, I keep seeing this sword.
Yeah, exactly. And it's explained what it is. It's like it's like one bone or something or tooth. And then there's Chekhov's gun. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then there's this has a few anti-Chekhov guns, right? So where you're shown something and it doesn't
and never becomes anything.
But this is pending a set part 2, right?
Well, this is
so
the
we
problem.
don't know. But I feel like a lot of these are safe to say that probably not so required. But this is where when you adapt a book,
that is a 3-act structure
yeah,
into 2 movies that
Yeah.
are both 3-act structures,
yeah,
but also need to have an overarching 3-act
Yeah.
structure between the 2 movies, which is one story. You run into some issues.
yeah. Well, this is why Lord of the Rings is just the best trilogy of all time.
Totally, because each
you
movie is
can-
an individual movie.
Yes, you can watch it and be like that.
And they-
filled my cup of movie.
They each have an act, 3 acts, and they all they work perfectly.
They work perfectly. So this one, and so this leads into my, I guess, one of the points maybe you might agree with is the kind of lingering kind of pace that it kind of doesn't peak at the end. So
No.
every traditionally movie you have a climax and setup.
It climaxes too early, and then
Way
it
too early, yeah.
peters out.
And then says, sorry, it never happens to me for the next hour. but yeah, doesn't it kind of does that, doesn't
And then it tries to go again at the end with like the 5 minutes. It's like, oh, it's not working.
Nah, wait till next movie. I'll get you good. But that was kind of like I was okay with it because I was really I was immersed in the story and I loved the story. But as a structure, probably let down a lot of people, and I reckon that probably would have been.
That was a big issue for me. Is that it
issue?
feels
Okay, yeah.
because it's a very similar criticism that I have to Infinity War, which is that it's a part 1. It's an unsatisfying conclusion, and it tries to just like breeze past the fact that it's a part 1, and it tries to have like an emotional ending, and it tries to pretend it's a normal movie. But it's just so obviously massively a part 1 that I didn't feel like I watched a movie. I didn't feel like it didn't give me satisfaction in a way that a movie should. You're just like, oh, great, I watched a movie. That was enjoyable. Yeah. I just felt like, great, I got to wait 3 years. Left hanging in a way that's very annoying.
I get that, but I will sort of just bring up Empire Strikes Back as another example where you can do that and it does sort of work. So you end on that kind of cliffhanger.
It's okay to have a cliffhanger.
That loss. No, but like you don't have a real final kind of like, oh, I guess you do.
Empire Strikes Back is pretty like legitimate movie. It has like
you got the final, but I guess
and it has like you know.
But I guess my impression from Infinity Wars when I finished it was I remember it was like the cap was like the kind of hope was like we're getting everyone back together and we're gonna figure this out or something like that. I don't know what should actually.
But the thing with Infinity, it ends with like everybody dying, and then they're like, okay, well we know in the next movie they're gonna bring everybody back. So the ending is not really an ending. The Infinity War is specifically annoying because it tugs at your heartstrings while telling you it says, hey, everybody's dead, but then in the other hand, it's saying, don't worry, they're all going to be fine in the next movie. Come see the next movie, right? That's annoying. Empire Strikes Back ends with everything's fucked. How are they going to like?
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And Dune Part 1 ends with
kind of
doesn't even have that because it's just like it doesn't seem too bad. Like they
have everything's fucked, but then they have another 30
minutes, and then it's like this is just the beginning, which is I fucking hate that line.
Yeah.
Like this is just the beginning. Like every movie does that. It's like a trailer line. Like this is just the beginning.
There's another line I hate. It's said in so many movies. It's just like it's like when they say like you can do it or like let's go, let's do it. Or it's like there's a let's.
Oh whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Forget that bit. Yeah.
But it does feel like one of those tropey lines, and
like a car ad line or something.
Yeah. Like a video game, kind of like.
Someone not getting
Timothy
paid
Chalamet,
anything.
what are you doing in that desert, sir? Finishing this fight. Like it's nonsense, right?
That's a great line.
It's a good line.
I like that one. Finishing this fight.
That's
overkill.
Look, that's what it felt like to me. So
June-tacular. I'm going to call this June-tacular.
I'm going to call it June Look Up.
June Look Up.
Dune Look Up. Don't look up.
Don't look up. I still Dune.
So okay, well, my thoughts on Dune was that, and also Denis is one of the greatest living directors.
Oh, already?
Yeah, of course. But the script, contingent on the script. Tarantino is a script and director guy. Nolan works with his brother, who's a writer, so like that's kind of fine as well. Some directors are like able to do the auteurs, you know, Wes Anderson and stuff, where they can just, the whole thing is them. Whereas I feel like Denis takes a script and just like puts his mark all over it. And he doesn't.
Yeah, but you make it sound like he's like saying, yeah, like a big kind of like producer. But
No,
he's
no,
actually
no.
making it like
it's a collaborative thing and everything, but I just think he's like contingent upon the quality of the script, just because he doesn't really do much with the script writing. I don't think he's written any of his movies.
But I think it's an undersell just for the fact that he takes something, but he sort of
He elevates it. He transcends it.
He transcends. That's right. So he sort of says, "Look, I loved Blade Runner." Well, I never said this. He probably hated it, but like he took Blade Runner and said he really got what the movie was about
For sure.
And so, you know, in a time where we had all these ill-timed sequels, we had like Ghostbusters, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Then you had Blade Runner 2049, and
Which
it's
is
like,
amazing.
It was just it was amazing. It's probably the only sequel that came 20 years after or 30 years after that actually was fantastic.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
And then
Die Hard 4 kind of, but not really. Die Hard 4 is good, but it's not. I guess
forgot
it's
what
like
happens in that one.
it's the one with
Timothy
Mary
Olyphant.
Elizabeth Winstead and Timothy Olyphant. Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah, it must be, because he's not in.
I think was it good?
And it's quite good. He does launch a car into a helicopter, but
it was
whatever.
more like that was 10 years or something after.
95 to 2007, I want to say, so 12 years maybe, not quite.
But,
the
yeah,
same.
so remember when there was that, like, every movie was getting like a reboot,
Even Star
Total
Wars,
Recall,
you know,
Star
like-
Wars. It was like that was the time.
Yeah,
When 2049 came out. It's like,
Yeah.
this stood out as
That
an
was-
amazing movie.
Oh, for sure.
But then he's done the same with Dune here. So he's probably to a fault taken, like I said, with all these sort of inconsequential characters and plot lines, maybe taken these characters and there's just an absolute kind of love in the art and what he's doing, and it really shows.
Do you feel like he's too close to the material though? Like he loves it too
that's
much.
probably like I said, to a fault. I think that's probably where he's not able to really like, because his job here is to take
Kill your
this
darlings.
and that's right. So like if you've got something that shouldn't be in the movie, as they're saying, you love this character in the book, but like people love Tom Bombadil. People love him.
Right,
They
that's-
wanted him in Lord of the Rings, but he ruins Lord of the Rings 100%. If you bring him in the movies, he ruins it. It does not work at all.
No.
And that was a very hard decision from Peter Jackson.
And like
sure
all the songs that they cut out.
Such a hard, exactly.
Yeah.
So many more songs, but that would have been like, oh fuck, I have to cut him. It doesn't
You have
make
to cut
sense.
Tom,
And and he had to, and it makes the film as an overall way better, because you can't have someone. He's just such a standout character. It's like, the ring doesn't affect him. It's like, oh, it's not that good then.
Yeah. So I don't even know what he would cut from the movie. I feel like just the scenes are maybe a little bit too long. Yeah. They all need to be cut, and then bring in some other scenes to. Because my main issue with the movie is there's not enough character development, and a big reason is because there's not enough dialogue between people. Like, there's so many, long scenes of like fucking amazing shit that you're seeing on screen, like the ships and the planets and all the different worlds, like not just like the worlds, but like all like the different cultures and things that you're seeing. Like, I love all of that stuff, but not enough character dialogue stuff.
Yeah, and it sort of doesn't want to bog you down in a lot of the exposition, but it has to have a decent amount of it. Otherwise,
it
really
started with a lot of exposition.
You had to have it. And that was one of the scenes where I remember one of our friends was really getting into it. Not very close friends. He's a good fella. But
I wish him well.
He's kind of like, all that exposition at the start. It's just like Lord of the Rings started the exact same way.
Like
it had the Galadriel third age. It's just like you need that just to give you a bit of an intro.
It's weird that the spice wasn't like really. They didn't tell you what it was really, because in the books it's like a whole different thing. In the movie, it's just kind of implied that it's like the fuel.
Yeah,
but that's not what it is.
It's funny. Remember, did you ever play Dune, the board game?
No, I didn't play.
Yeah,
Dune,
that was like a whole thing. It's just like you got to acquire spice. It reminds me of that Arnie Donna sketch with like
you got to get
spice
the wood.
One spice equals one spice.
Yeah.
You one spice to buy a spice. You must acquire the spice.
You
have this card, you win the game. That literally happened. Is just like. This our friend Sean just literally won the whole game in game 2 accidentally. It's like, okay.
Right, yeah.
Is that so? We're dealing with that sort of universe. It's a lot of shit's going on.
Yeah, a lot of shit's going on, and like I was hoping it was going to be like the Game of Thrones of sci-fi world, which is kind of what it is often referenced as. Didn't really get that as much. Like Oscar Isaac was fine. Didn't really have enough to do. Everybody's been praising Rebecca Ferguson, and again,
I noticed
she's
that.
fine.
She for me was I was thinking, okay, this must be I thought Timothée Chalamet's strong lead again.
He's strong. I actually thought he was
fanboying him right
than the King. Like he was better in the King. He had
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
But
I haven't seen. But he had more opportunity to shine with just some of the lines that he had in the King.
I feel like you watched the first Dune, right? Do you remember how kind of annoying that?
Oh yeah, he's just like, I mean, he's useless. Like that guy is fucking like he looks like the whole movie. He's just kind of like dumb fucking pretty boy. Looks like he would easily have his life ruined by anybody who just like offers him. Right. He just looks useless.
But I like how Timothy has that kind of like sort of natural charm to him, but also while being someone who's kind of like just. Yeah, as in like kind of knows what's going on, but also is very friendly, amiable, and is very kind of like childlike in terms of
not a lot
like,
of depth.
I found that he did, but that's just me. Look, what I'll talk about what I loved. I love the score, as we know. Hans Zimmer.
I like the score, except for like the nods to like the random African kind of Lion King as they have that music all the fucking time. It just keeps coming back like the wailing.
Oh, right. See, you hate African music. That's
I feel like Hans Zimmer was just like pressing the wail button.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But like I love the bass and like the sort of drums in the score.
But how good was like amazing. The warrior planet, the Sal? I don't even know what they are, but like the warriors of the Empire's army, and they had that like weird guy with the long neck, and he's going, like throat singing as they getting blood put on their head, and then it shows like the people being sacrificed. They're like upside down with their necks slit. I was like, that's good.
Its world building's like it's so.
I think it suffers fantastic. A bit from being a M-rated like PG-13 movie. Like it didn't have any blood apart from that like less than a second of blood.
Yeah.
Like people would get shot or stabbed and nothing.
That's right. I thought so too. This is one where you kind of just need, but it's got such a big budget.
It's such a big 300 million.
Make that back somehow.
I think it needs to make $500 million to like be a success.
Yeah. Which like I hope it does because we've got the second one coming.
I think it will.
It's been green lighted.
We've already got a second one coming. Like I am very excited. Don't get me wrong. Like. Maybe my score goes up. Like maybe I watch it as like one movie, like a 5-hour long movie, which is fine. You can have 5-hour long movies if it's worth it, like, and I will just consider this a 5-hour movie, like a Lawrence of Arabia type epic.
Yeah.
I think and I think like after maybe watching the second one, the overall thing will have a higher score than the first one. But I am watching the first one as a singular movie, which I know like I'm not supposed to, but that's like the only way that I can watch the movie. That's
fair enough.
It's a movie. You're supposed to watch the movie. And if this was it, if there was no more, which was a very big possibility, you have to enjoy it for just what it is. And like I loved like a large part of it. But I think because of the lack of interesting characters that I was involved with and that I cared about, and the lack of dialogue between them to make them more interesting, I got bored in the second half. I was bored by the end of the end. I was like ready for it to finish.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, the characters, I guess they're not really. I kind of agree with you to a point. Remember, there's another general played by. He was in
general.
like it's like a general. Of
Josh Brolin. You're talking
Josh
about?
Brolin.
Oh yeah.
His character is similar in that it's. Unless we see him again in the second half of the movie.
Which, I don't know if you want to be spoiled at all about his characters.
Anyway, look, I'll talk about notable comparables for this. It's high concept sci-fi. This is what I'd sort of put this in.
I saw people talking about it like 2001. I'm like, it's not 2001.
But you can put it on like, I guess Interstellar is kind of more just like literally just like traveling.
I think you're right.
But I think like Prometheus, Dune, kind of like.
Yeah, I can see that because I watched Prometheus again recently and my opinion of it came down a bit. Maybe it's because it's like the 8th time I've watched the movie and you can only get so much enjoyment out of one movie. But I like started to see some of the criticisms that people have. I still think it's a great movie, but like it is one of those like big sci-fis that asks big questions that like is, like you say, ambitious And maybe
Blade
it
Runner.
falls short of its ambition, but that's what you still want the movie to be reaching for something.
Yeah, which is great. I think that always for me gives it extra points because it's
Sure.
actually attempting to do something or go somewhere
unique.
the other films have
Not gone before.
Do not dare to tread.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Do not dare trod.
Oh, well, all right.
The other one.
Cut that out. So, well, I mean, what did you rate Dune?
Yeah, I gave it a 9, an easy 9.
Easy 9.
I'm not a 10. That's just why. So it's a 9, and it's like on the high end of that 9.
Strong 9.
Strong 9. Very strong 9.
I give it a strong 7. Just because, like, it's very hard to give it a 7 because it is so spectacular in so many ways. But I think even with the spectacularness of it, the thing that really is important about movies is characters. The movies don't work unless you care about the characters because that's what makes you care about the movie and where it's going and what it's doing. If you're just kind of like bored with it and wanting it to end because you're not getting much out of it, even if it is the most visually spectacular thing. I mean, Transformers, right, is visually spectacular in a lot of ways. And I really should take that back comparing to the Transformers because it's just literally special effects. But like special effects aren't the only thing, and the movie looks amazing. And Denis has a way of shooting special effects and practical effects that is unlike anybody else. And he is, one of the great directors, and he is pushing the art of filmmaking forward, which I really appreciate. The only thing is that the script lets it down quite a bit, just because, and it is literally just the character stuff, because maybe it's trying to fit too much in the movie, which is confusing because it's trying to fit a lot into the movie, and it feels like you don't really connect to the characters in those moments, but then also it feels like it drags in a way, like it's extending scenes, even though it's like fitting in scenes. It's kind of
yeah. It kind of lingers where it shouldn't. Occasionally.
And therefore you're missing like the other cool stuff that might bring you into it a bit more. So Timothy was great. Apart from that, there wasn't really a standout actor. Maybe Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron. He was really great. I did love Stellan as the Baron. That was really fun. Drax didn't have much to do. What's his name?
Yeah, Drax. Dave Bautista. Yeah,
I was hoping that he would be a bit more.
Yeah. Same with Duncan Idaho. So the guy who played him is
Jason Momoa.
Yeah. I wanted
Duncan Idaho is like a funny name for like Idaho.
Duncan Idaho.
But he
sounds
was,
like he's
I liked him, but also like we'll just go quickly to still we're in spoilers obviously. When he dies, that was very annoying because he didn't need to die. There's a moment where Duncan Idaho, Jason Momoa, is with Timothy and his mother and maybe some other people, and they're gonna get killed by like these soldiers that are coming to get them. So Duncan Idaho is like, "Oh, I will distract them and fight them to the death as you escape." And he goes into the room to go fight them, and then Timothée Chalamet is like knocking on the door and being like, "No, Duncan," until the point Duncan dies, and then they're still there, and then they run away. So his whole sacrifice was completely meaningless because if they had when he dies, they're about to get them and then they leave. So they were about to get them anyway. They could have left at any point. It was one of those deaths that was like, you don't need to die. You could just go with them now. You could just run away together now. But he for the movie, for the narrative, he has to die. So he does die in that way. And that was very annoying because instead of being like, oh, he sacrificed himself for them, it's like, you didn't need to sacrifice yourself, dude.
Yeah, so
you did not buy any time whatsoever. So your whole purpose for dying, completely void, which was to buy them time. But Timothy's there the whole time until he dies, at which point the soldiers then come in. So he didn't need to die. It's not explaining it very well. Watch the movie, you'll see what I mean.
Anyway, yeah. All right.
So what I said, did I say my score? 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7, yeah, 7.
So that's Dune. That's Don't Look Up. Both movies, I think, I would say give it a watch.
Yeah.
Come up with your own opinion. It's weird that I've given them the same score, isn't it? Because Dune feels like a much better movie. But I guess they're different kinds of movies. My rating score, I'm comparing Don't Look Up to other comedies and other comedy dramas,
About the end of the world.
I'm comparing Dune to the great science fiction movies, which it's trying.
God,
which
boy,
it,
Dune had a much harder class.
it did. That's what it is. I mean, it's an S-class car, so it is versing other S-class cars.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I thought we'll get into what else we watched.
Yeah.
Unless you got any passing thoughts on Dune, I think it'll be interesting to see.
That's pretty much it. And I'm looking forward to the sequel. Very much looking forward to the sequel.
I watched something last night which I thought I'd run by you because I know you love this working director. And I didn't even know this was a film until I watched it.
Oh yeah,
I never heard of it. It's called A Little Princess.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of The Little
And
Princess.
it's by your man Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, there you go.
And it was really good.
Yeah, no surprises there.
It's a kids movie. Yeah, it's sort of you can see why he was obviously given one of the Harry Potter films.
Was this pre-Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah, no, this is from 95.
95.
So this is
one of his earlies,
one of his very early
maybe
films.
First?
I'm not sure, but it was it was a beautiful film, very good. And obviously, it's a kids film. It's one of those old kind of kids films
fantasy,
where you're sort of no, based in World War I times, but it's a little bit brutal at times. It's sort of it doesn't sort of.
When we allowed kids to learn things about the world rather than just coddle them till.
Yeah, it's based off a book, and it sort of has like heart-wrenching moments. It's I guess sort of similar to I want to say Matilda and Madeline, but it's sort of better
Charlie
than
and the Chocolate Factory even.
But yeah, much better and beautiful, very very visually stunning, and you can just
Paddington
see, wow,
2.
oh my god, this guy, Paddington 2, chuck that in there. Yeah, but I love Paddington 2, but it's also just like it's a kids lighthearted. They're not gonna test themselves. I do like the film though.
Yeah, well, for some reason I always forget Alfonso when I'm saying these are my top 3 directors or whatever.
Yeah, he's one of your top 3, I'm sure.
For sure, yeah.
Not to say I love him too. He's very good, but I think
Children of Men's probably my favorite movie. Maybe
ever,
one of the best. Maybe Reservoir Dogs is more of a favorite just because it's more fun. But Children of Men is maybe the best movie.
I don't disagree with that. I've got 5 10 out of 10 films, and that's one of them.
And Children is one yet.
But yeah, no, I think it's just it amazed me how good. Yeah, so you remember back in the old kind of 90s 80s how when you have a child lead. And they talk kind of really slow, and they sort of they're sort of really kind of they talk like this, and as in that's that's sort of the direction,
child.
a child, but really kind of like that.
Yeah, rather than the ones that are adults now.
And now they all speak super quickly, and you know what I mean. They sort of had a direction to really
be children
talk at a slow pace.
Sure.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's
but
gone
it
now,
kind of had that, and I don't know. It's just kind of worked.
Now every child's like a hacker that's smarter than all the adults.
Now it's all they're all online.
No,
they're online now.
No 8-year-old knows how to do anything. That's my hot take of the pod.
No, they don't.
Yeah. Okay. So Little Princess. Look, I'll watch it because Alfonso. Yeah, love it.
No, but apparently, it's a lot of people's childhood film, and I honestly had never heard of it before.
Is it Mexican? Is it in?
No. It's
no, because his early movies are all in Spanish.
I was going to say proper white. It's a proper white film. It's got it tackles race though.
Of course.
But in a not in a way that is confronting, but in a way that's kind of through the eyes of a child, which So you watch it and you're like, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool lesson to take from that film.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. I give it. It's almost 9. It's probably a 9.
Yeah,
because I got just a June. It feels like a weird one
to give it the same.
But it's something
June.
that you definitely Were I to have kids, I would definitely sit them down and watch this.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And they weren't allowed to leave the room till they finished.
Watch it. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Anything else that you watched recently?
Not really of consequence. Love hard on.
Love hard.
I'll just say this: it rewards catfishing. So if you want to feel bad for a catfisher, watch that. Dante's Peak, a classic kind of disaster film. Effects haven't aged well, so you watch new films and
I heard Dante's Peak is the good volcano movie though.
Yeah. What's the other one's just called Volcano?
I think
with
so,
Tommy
yeah.
Lee Jones.
So that's the case. So Dante's Peak is not
Dante
the Tommy.
Peak's I like
Patrick Wilson in this one.
No. So it's Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton.
Oh,
and
cool.
But it's cool. It's like another kind of family watch. It's sort of just standard, but
very 90s, I imagine.
Very 90s.
Yeah, like a volcano disaster movie.
Classic,
sounds like yeah. You want to make it these days.
What are yours? Let's see yours.
I watched some good ones. I watched Rock and Roller for the first time. Guy Ritchie.
All right.
And like, there's not been a Guy Ritchie. There's still some I haven't seen, Revolver, and there's one other one I haven't seen. But apart from that,
Me too. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
that was the one that was bombed. It might have had Madonna in it.
Oh yeah,
Because he was married to Madonna and
yeah.
he put her in one of his movies, I'm pretty sure. But every Guy Ritchie movie I've
silly.
seen is like fucking good. Like
Rock and Roll is great, isn't it?
Rock and Roll's
It's sort of-
great.
It came right after Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
it came after
which
Revolver.
meant-
So Revolver was the one where people were like, oh shit, Guy Ritchie's actually shit.
Oh,
And then,
did it?
then
Okay,
Rock and
yeah.
Roll, I think, still had
Sure.
a bit of a hangover from that. And so it doesn't have the same reputation
Yeah.
as Snatch and Lock, Stock, but it's up there with those two for me. Not,
Yeah, no, it
not
is for
quite,
me.
but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
It's like The World's End compared to Hot Fuzz and
Sure, yeah.
and Shaun of the Dead.
maybe even slightly better. But yeah, great cast as well. Jared Butler, Idris Elba, a young Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy,
as
who
Handsome
steals
Bob,
the kind of film. Yeah, he's so good in it. And
and Tandy Newton from
yes, that's right.
Westworld.
And doesn't it have that American dude from Entourage? Yeah,
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy
Yeah,
Piven,
he's
that's right,
he's
yeah.
quite bad in it and very like minor. Yeah, like he's perfect as the dude in Entourage, and then everything else I've seen him in, I'm like,
Oh yeah, I remember liking him in this, but maybe it's wrong of me to say that.
yeah, maybe. So that was good. And then I watched Layer Cake. Finally, the Matt. Who was it? Wasn't Matthew? Was it Matthew Vaughn? Yeah, Matthew Vaughn. I'm pretty
Matthew
sure, or
Vaughn
Matt
did that.
Reeves, maybe.
The guy Matthew Vaughn from Kick-Ass, yeah.
Yeah, Vaughn did Kick-Ass and Reeves did Let Me In.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, and then Cloverfield Reeves did as well. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Matthew Vaughn, and it was the movie that gave Daniel Craig Bond and everything, and I just didn't like it that much. It felt like a really cheap Guy Ritchie imitation.
Yeah.
And it's got like super good reviews. Like people love Layer Cake. It's like a cult film, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I've seen it once and it was like literally back when it came out, 2006 or something.
2004, I think, yeah.
And it was forgettable. Like I don't remember what happened in it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I don't
yeah.
remember anything about it.
It feels like somebody's just and Vaughn was the producer of Snatch and Lock, Stock, so he was like just kind of doing a Guy Ritchie movie, but
At the same time,
but without
taking
any of
notes.
the charm or like the fun of it. It didn't feel fun, which is weird because the script kind of seems like it should be fun, but then the movie's not fun. So some issue there. I watched The Guilty with after Ed recommended it.
That's right.
Not that good, man.
Yeah, you didn't like it. Is the concept? It's so hard to deliver that concept.
And it's a
with
remake.
Just having like Buried, like Phone Booth, where you just but Phone Booth does deliver.
Does it well,
Buried
yeah.
doesn't.
No, I like Buried.
Really?
Yeah, Buried's great.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I watched it a long time ago. But I think it's still good. But no, like I looked at all of the
But
changes
it's so
from
hard
like
to do
the
that,
Danish
isn't it?
version, and like
Okay.
all of the changes are like, fuck you, Western audiences, fucking stupid, you won't get it. Here's a happy ending, fuck you. Like,
Oh, really?
it's just like the dumb American remake version of it. So I think like after doing a bit of research, the score came down even more. I'm like, oh fuck, man! Like it treats the audience like they're stupid.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
disappointing.
annoying, yeah.
But and Jake Gyllenhaal is fine, overacts a little bit, but then can't cry in the final scene where he's supposed to be crying. And he's like it kind of reminds me of Tropic Thunder where Ben Stiller's like scrunching up his face. He's like, and Jake Gyllenhaal's doing the same thing, but he's not crying. I'm like, just cry, man. And then that was really distracting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I watched
You would have
that.
thought I'd have a few takes with him.
Yeah, and I watched Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen, which I thought Rock and Roller was. But anyway, Shoot 'Em Up's like way over the top. He shoves carrots through people's head, and he has like a one-liner after every scene. There's one scene, it's got Monica Bellucci in it, and there's one scene where they're fucking, and then like dudes bust in, so then he like picks her up and is like fucking her as he's like shooting them all, and he like kills everybody, and she's going, ah. And then like once it's all over, he's like, talk about blowing your load. Like it's that kind of movie.
Jesus.
And it's kind of like I don't
just so
know
crazy.
whether because
So it's kind of like Crank. Remember?
yeah, which I also didn't like.
You didn't like Crank?
No,
I like
I think
Crank. I think
both-
Crank does that
I think
well.
those type of movies I don't really like very much.
Yeah, I mean it's a
like a
course.
cartoon.
It's a rough film.
Yeah.
But Crank is just Jason Statham's perfect for
It's-
it.
yeah,
This
it's
probably
silly.
doesn't sound like Clive Owen's a bit kind of more like appears to be at least. A bit
They're
more kinda
drunk
like,
movies.
nice.
You got to be
Yeah.
drunk to watch them. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe that's it. And then I watched Lethal Weapon and Casino Royale. I'm pretty sure I've seen Lethal Weapon
They're
before.
fair-
Like
they're
I kept
movies.
watching it and I was like, no, I've seen this. No, I haven't. Have I seen it? Pretty sure
There's
I've
four
seen
of
it.
them, so you might have seen one,
Yeah.
2 or 3 or something.
Look, it's great. Mel Gibson's really, really good in it. Like, and if I have
He
seen
loves
it, it was a
it,
long
yeah.
time ago. But yeah, Mel Gibson, like, better than I expected. I thought he was like kind of
Really?
the star of the movie more than Danny Glover, and was just like shockingly like, oh my fuck yeah, Mel Gibson. I get why he was like the massive star that he was. Yeah.
No, he was. Yeah, that's interesting. So you didn't really kind of rate Mel Gibson when he was prime Mel Gibson. I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean, like,
What Women Want,
but like, I mean, really, apart from Mad Max and Lethal Weapon, like, how many Mel Gibson movies? Braveheart is good. It's
he was in
yeah.
what was it called?
Good director.
That one set in, I want to say, Cambodia. Anyway, I'm sure. Gallipoli.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Gallipoli.
I think that was his first.
I watched it in
film,
high school, maybe. Yeah, that was the one that kind of like elevated him to
Gallipoli's great. Yeah, that's one of the all time.
Mad Max 1 or 2, which is your.
Oh, that's a good question. I like the second one. I do.
Classic,
I think
first is mine. Yeah,
first is yours. I
like
the second one
70s
better.
movies.
Yeah,
gritty,
I like
like
what it takes it.
dark.
It's similar to why I like Aliens better than Alien. Not to say.
And I like Alien better than Aliens. Yeah, I think the 70s was like, so like, kind of like realistic, gritty. 80s was kind of like more fun, bombastic.
And then it took it too far with the Thunderdome, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Thunderdome feels more like Road Warrior than Mad Max 1. Mad Max 1 is just like
it sort of took it and was just like, all right,
you've gone. It's kind of like Return of the Jedi, really. Yeah.
No, because at least it's more like Godfather Part 3.
Yeah, it's probably more Godfather
Part
Part 3.
Like the first 2, you could say are comparable, whereas no one's going to say.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Return of the Jedi I could chuck on, and some days might even admit that it's my favorite Star Wars.
Really,
I really like.
You like the Ewoks, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do. Like, but I think I like them all at certain points. So, like I would say, right now I feel like I like Empire Strikes Back, and then
I actually
when
think
I've had my fill,
A New Hope is my favorite.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Again, 70s.
You know what I watched? And
is that the best decade? I think so.
The 70s for movies. Yeah. I guess they really went kind of ham, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And not only did you have like the dark, gritty movies like Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, just Al Pacino movies, but you also had the exploitation movies like Ozploitation movies, blaxploitation movies, like, and those are some of the most fun movies. And then the 80s is all like Top Gun and stuff.
Great. Top Gun. There's a new Top Gun coming.
I know. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're about an hour 5 into
it.
So
let's give the people a break from listening to us.
Yeah.
You guys can, you know what? You've been very good.
Yeah, you've been a great audience today.
Yeah, you go.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Well done, you.
Well done us we did all the work, but.
That's right. But you listened to us doing the work.
Actually, that's probably more work. Yeah. All right. Look, thanks for joining us, everybody, for Dune and Don't Look Up. I don't know what we'll watch next. The next good movie.
There's a few.
There is
coming out.
What did I want to see? Oh, there's something that's about to come out that I really want to see. Oh, well.
There's heaps of things. So we'll be back, and you don't know when, and you don't know why, but we'll be back.
That's right. All right.